Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry, I'm in a good mood tonight. Okay, Carl, you're up with events.
I say, at least you're here.
Hey, don't blame me. I had a family emergency last month.
I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time.
You ready?
But it was fun having Joe.
Hey, at least I had somebody fill in for me.
Yeah. All right, what do we got? Oh, you got the winter field day recap. Okay. You know, we had quite a few people, more than I expected because it was so cold this past weekend, show up. And we had people that came and set up. We had people stay and log and call, and we had people come back and take us down. We had people that just hung around and kept us awake and kept us company and if did nothing else, talked to us when there was little lulls and stuff like that. We had some people that just came out and ate the pizza. But I want to know how many people here with the Winter Field Day. And look around and see who those people are. Because I think we probably had, and I'm just guessing, Noji probably has hard numbers on this, I think we probably had about 40 or 50 people there at different times in that 24-hour period. Maybe? Guess? Good guess? Okay. I know that we had some visitors come down. We had some visitors come down and say, what are all these cars doing here? And you know, what is all this going on? And I stopped and did some explaining because, you know, they come down and they see our masts and our antennas up and all these cars in a place where they come down and just, there's usually not anybody there in the wintertime. And so it gave me 10 minutes to explain the club and what's going on down there and ham radio and everything else. It was kind of fun. And that happened to a couple people while I was there. I don't know if anybody else had that experience. But it was much more fun than it would appear on the surface because and Jim made it. He was out there calling. I mean, if Jim can make it, anybody can make it. And we had some kids out there. We had Elijah out there making calls. Now, I want to invite anybody. I was going to put my computer up here and show you guys some pictures of some of the pictures that got posted. But go to the Facebook, the Utah Valley Amateur Radio Club Facebook. There's about 6 posts there with a lot of pictures. There's a time lapse that Chad Bocut put up. There is a little video of Jeremy and Jamie sitting there on a QSO in my trailer. I don't know how much other stuff might have get posted or might in the future get posted in the newsletter. But you know, go to the Facebook group and look at some of that stuff and see how much activity was really out there. Because honestly, it was a lot of fun. Now I asked Noji for some figures. I looked at some figures before I left there on the computer. We used that what is it called? N3FJP programming. By the way, Chad got a call with that guy this weekend on digital. Was it digital? Yeah, it was digital. And so that was kind of exciting. And we had some DX calls too. I know I had 1 to Australia on 10 and 2 on New Zealand on 10 meters on DX. And Ralph is saying he got some on CW. That's kind of expected. Belize, he got some South America. So we had some DX, which is kind of unusual. I saw another hand back there.
Kip and I got Scott, the guy who wrote the program, on voice as well.
Oh, you got him on voice as well?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So that is really cool. So, and the DX is cool too. I mean, I was in shock that we had those long distance calls on 10 meters. So anyway, I asked Noji for some figures, and he gave me a side-by-side. Last year, we had 1,202 contacts, which we thought was pretty good. And we had only 71, Ralph, only 71 CW calls, which we thought was really exciting. It was something. And we had about 11,791 points. Okay. This year, we had, and this may get some minor adjustments, but what we have so far, 1,391 contacts. And we had a slow start. Okay. 302 of those. That's over 3 times. That's almost 4 times what we had last year in CW. So Ralph is doing pretty good. We heard him bleeding over on us in CW, and he was sounding a lot faster than he did last year. Chad was telling me in digital, you'd say 229? 229 digital contacts. So we did pretty good on digital too, and the rest were all on voice. We had a total of, and this is just preliminary, 26,721 points. So I think that was really awesome. Like I say, a little bit of a slow start, a little bit cold, and I think we between 2 and 6 in the morning, I think we all took a break. I know I got about 4 hours sleep in the trailer out there. Because there was calls were just not coming in, I think East Coast was asleep, and so I think we can pretty much count on that to happen every year. I think Chad went home and went to sleep, and I think no. Anyway, so we did take a break. So anyway, appreciate everybody's participating. Did you have something?
Extra bands, the 6, 12, or 6, 10, and 15 that we got contacts on, that really helped us out this year.
Yeah, all the, and we had some guys go home and make calls from home. All those count too. They may not be as exciting, but they count too. We had a lot of Utah calls. So lots of Utah calls. And you know what? It was fun to see that program turn blue. There was only a couple of red spots in there. I think there was like 4 Canadian provinces there. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. I think there was only one state. I think it was South New Jersey or something was the only state we didn't get, or the only entity in a state we didn't get. So, I mean, it was fun to see all that blue. Go ahead.
What antenna were you using?
I was using an offset center-fed dipole for mine. Noji was using his usual dipole. I don't know what that one's called.
On our thing,
Your antenna.
ours is a trap dipole.
Trap dipole, and you were using that G5RB Senior.
Just to finish that comment, I was working on my dipole at home, and you were hearing stuff I couldn't hear.
You know what? Honestly, I was oriented different than Noji. And they were hearing stuff that I couldn't hear because I was over there eavesdropping a couple of times, and I'm kind of going, wait a minute, because you know it was just the way the antenna is oriented. It's somewhat directional. So anyway, I appreciate everybody's. And if there's somebody that's not here that helped out, let them know that we thanked them. I mean, I just wanted to give everybody a personal thank you for helping out, because I really thought with the weather the way it was that we weren't going to get great participation. So, yeah, I'll shut up.
Not yet, you won't.
Not yet.
Well, the Seven Sixers barbecue, and we'll announce this every Wednesday night on the Seven Sixers net if you forget, but Saturday, July 8th, it's 10 to 2. They kind of pigeonholed us into that 4 hours up there now, and we'll try and provide the chicken if we can still buy it for a reasonable price. And what I see, eggs for $6.66 the other day. Somebody said those deviled eggs were off the. Yeah.
Not eat the chicken and have them lay eggs for us.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah. Anyway, we'll have Noji set up the go-to station, and we'll have prizes and stuff there as usual. So looking forward to that. It's a little later. We couldn't get the 2 weekends that we were picking in June. We couldn't get because somebody got to the city council before Lynn got there at 8 o'clock on opening day on it. So. That was kind of bad. So anyway, was there anything else there for me?
Nope.
Oh, good. Thank you again.
Okay, activities. We've got Ham Radio or Ham University, Saturday, February 18th at 9 a.m. This will be in Provo at BYU Law School, yeah, down there.
Oh, and also that's along with that is the luncheon that Linda's putting on.
The same week. I thought that was the second Saturday. Or is,
It'll be that day, 12:30 at Recovery.
Right.
okay, 12:30 Brick Oven. Afterwards, after Ham University. And then we just.
Oh, sorry.
There's the other announcements. Brick Oven Pizza at 12:30 after Ham University. 76ers lunch.
But if you're long-winded, don't come.
Okay, special announcements.
I'll do this one. It's my turn.
No G.
Okay. So we have a celebrity among us. More than Carl. Okay, so just let you know that that our very own Karen has been called and elected and so forth by prophecy to become the new emergency coordinator for our county, for Aries. So I want to personally congratulate her. Karen, congratulations! Now, just to be sure that we can complete what we're talking about here, I've asked Karen to come up and just say a few words about what that means. I mean, what the heck is an emergency coordinator?
So the emergency coordinator for Aries is kind of oversees the Aries program and works with the state. But if something was to happen within our county or our cities and they're going to need amateur radio help, they're going to put a call in to me, and I'm going to go ahead and get on the radios and put out the Everbridges, letting you know that we're in need of help. So I can tell you now that we've got a lot of events coming up this summer. June 10th is usually our bad day because we have quite a few of them. We've got the Orem City Fest that we do the parade and the fireworks. We've got Squaw Peak that we need help with, stations and net control. And then Art City Days is on the same day, which is a parade in Springville. So if you guys want to get out and play in your radios out in the community, keep an eye out for these opening and sign-up sheets. But that's what the EC does, is kind of wrangling ham radio help when we have events and emergencies in our county.
Okay, Chad's up. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead and hit it. All right, this is the list of the newly licensed radio operators. Do we have any new hams here tonight? Stand up. Congratulations. Congratulations. Glad that you're here. And I hope you, what's that?
He was at field day.
Yeah. And we hope you enjoy your new adventure in life. This is awesome. And good job on that. Next page. And then we had one upgrade. Is Todd here tonight? No, well, let's give Todd a round of applause anyway. Good job on that. All right.
Okay, tonight's presentation is by James Brown, Digital Remote. Okay, anybody come in late that needs a ticket? Raise your hand.
There's a couple hiding in the back.
Yep, I got them.
All right. It's going to take me a second here to get all configured.
Before you do, let me make a quick announcement too.
Go for it. That's
So,
perfect.
by the way, while James is getting it set up here, just want to let you know that Ralph has been so gracious to set up his laptop back there. For those who brought their radios who want to have them programmed, Ralph can do that. I love you too. But so if you want to talk to Ralph back there, he's back there waiting for you to talk to him. Thanks.
Can you attach that somewhere? Yeah, just stick it wherever you like. I'm easy. All right, let's see if this works. Test number 1, technology. Does it work? The answer is kinda. So Noji put me down as talking about digital radio, which is only semi-true. So I'm going to talk a little bit about automation. So I'm going to talk generally about automation. We'll talk a little bit about how you can use this automation in your shack or remotely to a remote set of radios. So in theory, you could participate in field day and not even have to actually be there because you could remote in and talk to things. So, do what? Yeah. I waited until the cold was over. I figured it was more fun to do it that way. So I'm going to focus on 2 things tonight. One of them is MQTT, and the other one is Node-RED. So the conversation is really more around Node-RED, but you kind of need to understand a little bit about MQTT first to kind of understand how Node-RED works. So a little bit of history about MQTT. MQTT stands for Message Querying Telemetry Transport. Really funky name, I know. So it actually came from the oil and gas industry. So they have all these huge pipelines across the country, right? And they have all these sensors on the pipelines, and they'd like to get that information back into their main server so they can monitor flow rates and all sorts of other things. And in order to do that, they have to transmit over very expensive satellite links. So they wanted to come up with a way that they could make really small packets to deliver this telemetry back to the main system without chewing up a bunch of money over these expensive low or high latency, low bandwidth satellite links. So this is what they came up with. They came up with this MQTT thing, which is basically a way of transmitting a topic and a payload, right? That's all you send. You send a topic and a payload. So a topic, you can see down in the bottom corner there, could be something like home/temperature, right? They use that / just like you use in your directory structure at home. They use that as a way to create a hierarchical structure for this data. And then you have a payload, which could be anything. It could be audio, it could be a number, it could be text, it could be an image, it could be literally anything that you can digitize. So whatever that device is, it can generate that payload and send it back to the main office. So that's the whole idea of MQTT. It's built on a broker-client kind of a relationship. There's only two things. There's a broker. The broker is essentially the central hub, the server that receives all these messages and sends them back out to other people. It's a publish-subscribe kind of a model, right? So if Carl comes in and says, I'm interested in counts of QSOs, right? He comes to the broker and says, I want to listen to those. And every time the broker receives a QSO from Noji, he sends it off to Carl and says, oh, I got one. Oh, and he got one from, somebody else. And oh, I'm going to send that off to Carl. And so as Carl subscribes to that, he gets all those notifications that come in from whatever it is that's generating them in the system. He doesn't care where they get generated. He just wants to subscribe to them and see them. And on the other hand, Noji doesn't care where they go. He just says, oh, I got a QSO. Oh, I got a QSO. He just hucks them out there, and whoever wants them goes to the broker and subscribes to them. So that's kind of how that model works. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is an event-driven system, right? Things go to Carl when they happen, right? When Noji sends something in, Carl gets a notification, right? He doesn't get notices all the time. He doesn't have to keep asking, hey, how many do you have now? Hey, how many do you have now? He doesn't have to worry about it. He knows when one comes in, he's going to get notification of it. So that's how MQTT works. So let's talk about Node-RED for a minute. So Node-RED was built in 2013 as a side project at IBM. Their basic intent was to say, we want to make it easier to manage these MQTT messages that are floating around in the system. We want to be able to visualize those and see what's going on. It's expanded far beyond what they originally intended, but that was kind of the impetus of what they were trying to do. It's now a part of the OpenJS Foundation. It's written in JavaScript. But the best thing about it is it's all browser-based. You have a browser-based editor, and it's all drag and drop. So you can see over on the right-hand side of the screen there what a typical flow might look like, right? So you just drag all these components onto the screen, connect them together the way you want messages to flow through the system, and magic happens. So we're going to learn a little bit about that tonight. The nice thing about Node-RED is it's built on JavaScript. It runs on top of the Node engine, which runs on everything. So you can run it on a Linux machine. You can run it on Windows. You can run it on a Mac. You can run it on a Raspberry Pi. You can run it in the cloud. You can run it on anything you want. So I have a home automation system built on Node-RED that uses MQTT at home. All of that runs on a tiny little $35 Raspberry Pi at my house, including the web interface and everything else. All of it runs on this cheap little Raspberry Pi at my house. Super, super easy. So if you're interested in doing these kind of things, it doesn't take massive computing hardware, right? You can run it on a $35 computer. One of the other nice things about Node-RED is there's a ton of community support out there. Because this is built on JavaScript, it's really easy for people to create new nodes and add them to the system. So there are literally hundreds of thousands of nodes out there that do various things, whatever they might be. So if you have a radio that's hooked to rig control, for example, oh, funny thing, there's a rig control node that knows how to talk to your radio. So you don't have to go figure out all that stuff. Somebody else has already figured it out for you. And they'll give you these nodes so that you can connect that to your radio or your antenna tuner or your rotor or your washing machine or whatever it is that you want to connect to the system. So what can you do in Node-RED, right? You can automate anything that has a digital interface. So if this thing has a digital interface, you can probably hook it up to Node-RED. It's a no-code or low-code solution. In other words, how many of you are software developers? Good. All the rest of you can also do this, right? It's really simple, drag and drop. You don't have to be a software guy to be able to build this. There's a group on groups.io called the Node-RED Ham Radio group that focuses on nothing other than how can I automate my ham radio shack using Node-RED? What can I do to build this really cool interface or control my shack or control the hardware that I have through Node-RED? So if you're interested in that, you can go out to that group. By the way, I built a blog post about all this, and I'll give you a link to it at the very end, but I have all of these resources out there. You can go out, click on the links. I have much longer descriptions of all these, all that sort of stuff. So when we get to the end, there's a nice QR code and a link there so you can grab that and take a look at it when you get back home. So here's some examples from the Node-RED Ham Radio group of things that people have built. These are all interfaces that they've built in Node-RED to control their radio system. So this will give you kind of a broad idea of all the different things that people are doing. You can see a lot of people have antenna rotor controls in there. That's what a lot of the Earth pictures that you're seeing are antenna rotors, so they can see, where's my antenna pointed right now, right? Carl was talking about, I had my antenna pointed a slightly different direction than Noji did, right? So if you're doing HF, you really want to be able to control where you're aiming that signal and where you're receiving from. So being able to kind of visualize that and see what's going on is really handy. You can see in the bottom left corner here, somebody built a little system for keeping track of contacts for contesting, so they can see what their score is, how many contacts, all that sort of stuff, contacts per hour, all sorts of information like that they're gleaning from their system. So here's another example of somebody that's doing both a local and a remote radio using Flex Radio. So they're able to connect both locally and remotely to the radio, control that, transmit, and you can see all of the controls that they have here across that interface. And this was all built in Node-RED. I know all of you are looking at me like, there's no way I could figure out how to do that. It's way too complicated. It's not, I promise you, and I will show you in just a minute how you can do it. So here's another interface that somebody built for a VK100. So they're able to essentially replicate the display that's on the radio there, be able to see what the faceplate of the radio would be showing them. Again, you see an antenna rotor there, and signal strengths. There's some information in the corner about the CPU itself, right? The computer that they're running on disk space used, and that sort of stuff. So again, you can integrate all this information from all these different digital devices. So we're going to build something here today. So this is some information that comes from the state of Utah, the Air Quality Index, right? We all have to breathe, right? Anybody not have to breathe? Okay, one, all right. Well, for the rest of us, we all have to breathe, right? And so this information is available from the state, and it's out there on their website, but it's not terribly consumable, right? So let's take a look at that. Let's see here. I need to go right here. So if we go look at the Division of Air Quality, I'm going to use the other mouse because I will be much better with it. All right. If we look at the Division of Air Quality here, this is the Utah Division of Air Quality site. They have this cool CSV feed, right? Can you guys see that okay? Does it need to be bigger? How's that? Is that better? Okay. So they have this great CSV feed, right? Comma separated values, kind of thing that you would import into an Excel spreadsheet, right? Well, that's really great that they have this, but how am I going to look at that as a chart or a graph, right? Just looking at some dumb number isn't going to help me. Okay, so they give me all this information about all these fields that they return, and then down here are a whole bunch of different URLs of, here's the one you can get from their Linden monitoring station, for example, okay? So great, but what do I do with that, right? How do I import that data? How do I create something that I could look at like we saw in that last picture? Well, let's take a look here. So this is the Node-RED interface, and I'm going to blow this up too, so hopefully it'll be a little bit bigger, be a little bit easier to see. So this is the basic Node-RED dashboard. So you have over here on the left a little palette of tools that you can use. These are the nodes that you can drag in. And then in the middle, you have this chart of what you've connected. Okay? So I'm going to get rid of all of this, and we're just going to start over here, right? So we're going to start with an inject node. Okay? So you notice when I hover over this, I get a little help box that tells me what does that do, right? There's also down here in the corner a little book. I can click on that book, and over here on the right, it's going to show me exactly what that node does. So I can see injects a message into the flow, blah, 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 and it'll tell me all about it, right? And remember, we've got a payload and a topic. Remember back to the MQTT stuff, right? All the messages in the system flowing around follow that same format. They have a message and a topic. You can add other stuff to it, but those are the basic things, right? Topic, payload, okay? So here's my timestamp. So I've got this timestamp unit, and it's going to send out a timestamp every so often. So I can double click on it, and I'll get this nice little box that allows me to configure it. So I can set things up. I can say, what do I want in message payload, and what do I want in message topic? Well, I'm going to make the topic be timestamp. And as far as what I'm sending, I can send any of these different things, right? So I could put some text in there, or I can put a timestamp in there, or any number of things. But down here at the bottom, I can also say, do that when you start, and then also do that on an interval. Do it every 5 seconds, okay? Or every 10 minutes, or every hour. Or I can set it up for a specific time, or I can set it up for an interval between times, or all sorts of different things. So I can set this up so that it'll send one of these whenever I want. Remember, it's an event-driven system, right? So there are a lot of things where I might need to create an event. I might need something to happen on a regular basis. So I can't go out to the state website and say, just update me once an hour, send me new stuff once an hour, right? I have to go out and ask them for that information. So this is how you create things in Node-RED that aren't really event-driven. They're being event-driven by these little nodes that are coming in. So I'm going to drag out one other node here. This is the debug node. So the debug node is great for telling you what's going on in the system. All right, here's the really hard part. Everybody watch. Don't miss this. I'm going to come over here to the output of this one, and I'm going to drag a line over to the input on that one. Woohoo! We just made a connection. Was that hard? All right. So we now have a program, okay? We now have a program in Node-RED. So I'm going to come up here to the top where it says deploy. I'm going to deploy this program. So I've just put that out there in the system. All these changes that I'm making don't go live until you hit the deploy button. So I'm going to come over here and look at this debug window. Remember, we have this debug tool that's sitting over here running, right? So now I can see these timestamps are just showing up, right? No hands on the keyboard, I promise. I'm not doing it. The machine's doing it itself, because we configured that node to send an update, right? To come out and say, hey, send me a new timestamp every 2 seconds, right? Or every 5 seconds. And so that's what it's doing. So we're seeing all of these timestamps show up over here on the side. And those are going to continue to do that forever, because that's the way our node's configured. We can also come over here and tell it to inject one by clicking this little button. It'll keep injecting timestamps as we do that. And we can come over and clear these out, and they'll start over again. So you can see I'm injecting them here. Okay, I injected a bunch, and it's injecting them on their own. Okay, so that's the basics. You guys now know how to program in Node-RED. Okay, we can all go home. No, all right, I'll show you some more. Okay, up here along the top, we also have these tabs, right? So there's one named air quality. So let's look at the air quality one. I'm going to shrink this a little bit just so you can see the whole thing. So this is the air quality tab. And let's see, let me get rid of some of this, and that will help. All right, that's a little better. Okay, so this is my air quality tab. So I have that same timestamp node, right? That's creating my go check on things. I have this node that says AQI Linden. So this is one of those nodes from the side of the pallet. This is an HTTP request node, right? Because when I went to the state site, it said, hey, if you want the data about Linden, use this URL, and we'll give you back a CSV file. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm going and getting that information. I'm retrieving that CSV file. And then I'm telling it, oh, hey, go parse that, go turn that from a bunch of text into something I can use in the computer. And I had to go tell it, oh, those are tab-separated fields instead of comma-separated fields, because when I look at their website, it says, oh, this CSV file contains tab-delimited data instead of comma-delimited data, right? So they told me that on the website, that that's what it was going to look like. So let's go look at one of those for a second. Let's just see what we're getting back so you guys can see what that looks like. So if I go make that request, if I just put that URL in, I get back a file, right? That is just raw data, okay? So I'm going to download this CSV file that I could go load in my Excel spreadsheet or whatever, okay? So I've told it it's tab delimited. I've told it that I want it to, that the first row contains all the names for the columns and all that. And then I want it to find just the latest one, because I'm getting a whole list of, you know, the last 48 hours or whatever. But I don't care about that. I just want to know what's the current data. So I'm just getting the very last one that it gave me, because I'm getting back a big array of all of these. And then I tell it, oh, now I want you to split that up by all the fields that you get back, all the information. So the ozone and the NOx and the solar radiation and the temperature and all this data that's coming back. I want you to split that up for me. And then I'm going to route that. So here's this thing that says, oh, okay, go look and see if the name of that field is date timestamp or ozone 8-hour average or PM25. So these are all those names that we saw over here in the description, right? Date timestamp, ozone 8-hour average, PM25, and so on. So these are all those fields I'm getting back. So I'm going to take those, and then I'm going to push those out to all these cute little things, gauges and charts. And what that gives me is it gives me a dashboard. So here is my air quality dashboard. So this is what I created using that data. And I'll shrink this a little bit. So I've got weather information over here, so I can see that the current temperature is 36 degrees. Remember, this is live data that's coming from Linden. I can see a little chart here of what the temperatures look like over the past, I have it set for 12 hours. So I can see what it was over the past 12 hours. I can see what the humidity was. I can see what the wind direction is, wind speed, and I can see what the solar radiation was today. So I can see how much sun were we getting, right? And then over here on the right, I can see all of these counters, right? The ozone counters, the PM25, NO2, carbon monoxide, all that stuff. So I can see both the gauge, the current value, but I can also see these values over time because it's been collecting this data and shoving it into that chart, and the chart is smart enough to go, oh, I'll remember that for you for the last 12 hours and just spit them back out for you. So I didn't have to do anything to get it to collect this data for 12 hours or any of that. All I had to do was just feed it to it one at a time and say, oh, it's currently 0.025, and it'll remember that and stick it in the chart for me so I can come back and look at it later, okay? So really simple, this flow that you see right here is all it takes to generate that entire interface that you just saw. So I went out to the state, grabbed this CSV file, split it up, and shoved it on that chart. Really, really simple. So let me show you a couple of others here. So this is the dashboard tool. You can create multiple tabs over here. I have a home tab, I have an event tab, and all that. So let's go to the home tab. On the home tab, I have a couple of buttons here, right? So how many of you like working ISS or you're interested in the International Space Station, watching it go by? Would it be really cool if you had, oh, I don't know, like a really cool world map that would show you in real time where ISS is right now and what's happening with it? That seems like kind of a cool deal, right? So it's going to take it a second to load here. So all I did was go out to NASA's site, grab the information from ISS about where it is currently, and dump that in a chart. And there we go. And it's going to show me both what the path was, and yes, it's kind of messed up because I turned it off for a while. So it was way over here, and then it jumped back over on this side and continued on. So that's why the chart looks a little funky, is because I had my computer off for a while. But you can see the path that it's taking, and this is the current position of ISS. You can also go in and say, oh, I want to see what the next pass is for my area. So if I click on that, it's going to take me to NASA's website, where it's going to tell me that on Friday, there's a 2-minute window at 7:06 p.m. So I can go look up, hey, when is the next one of these? Show me where that is, right? I want to see what's going on with ISS. So all of this stuff, right, you're thinking, oh no, that must be really, really hard to build, right? How many people think that that takes a whole page full of nodes to build that? Few? All right. Let's look at how big that actually is. If we go to the ISS tab here, that's everything that is putting that chart up. The map, the overlay, all of it. That is everything that puts that chart up. Okay, it's a grand total of what, 6 nodes? I mean, this one's a comment, so that doesn't even really count, okay? So you have literally 5 nodes that do this. I have a timer node that says every minute, go out and get the ISS position, convert that to the world map view, put it on the ISS track and on the map. Done. I get a track for ISS for the last 30 minutes, and I get the current position of ISS updated in real time every minute. Complicated? Not at all. Yes, sir?
One question I have is, so you can consume CSV data, but what about, for example, like JSON or XML? Does it do that as well?
Yep, it knows how to do all of those, right? So you can parse JSON, you can parse XML, you can parse essentially any format that comes in. So ISS, I think, yeah, ISS data comes back as a JSON object. So it's grabbing that JSON and then it's converting that into the world map format. So essentially, there's kind of what you're looking for, right? I say, oh, all right, I want to copy the payload latitude to the ISS position latitude. I want to copy the longitude from the longitude and so on, right? I'm just copying a bunch of fields that come back from that ISS position information. I copy them into a different name, which is what the map software wants when you display a map, okay? So that node is doing all those copies. And then I have a track node, which is the thing that draws that little line that says, keep track of the last 30 markers. And all I had to do was say, put it on the marker layer, keep track of the last 30, you're done, right? I didn't have to do anything else to get that cool line on the map that shows me where ISS has been. And then same thing for the map. I just say, what map do I want? Which layers do I want? What features do I want on or off? And I'm good to go. So all of a sudden, I have this really cool ISS map. I can come up here and say, oh, I want to see where it's day and night. Oh, I want to see this on a different kind of a map. I want to know what the rainfall looks like. Okay, give me some place labels. I want to know where things are. Oh, okay, I want to really zoom in on this. I want to see what city this is over right now. So I can zoom in to the point that I can start seeing roads, houses, all that sort of stuff. So we can see ISS is approaching Santa Cruz in South America right now, right? And I can keep scrolling in and zooming in to the point that I'm seeing individual houses, individual buildings on this map. I didn't have to do any of that. I didn't have to build any of that stuff. It does it for me, right? That's the beauty of Node, is all those pieces are already sitting there. They're already out there, built for you. So let me show you another one here that's maybe a little more ham radio related. So how many people are interested in band conditions if you're doing HF? Yeah, there we go. We got a few, right? Okay, so I went out and said, hey, go grab this cool little tool from another website and stick this on here for me so that I can see what the band conditions are in real time. So instead of having to open another browser tab and go to this site or have it open or have a link or whatever, I don't have to do that. I can have it all on my dashboard right in front of me. I can go gather all that information in and stick it right in front of me So I immediately have it available and I don't have to go look around for it. So here are two different pieces of information that you can get. These are two different ones. There are hundreds of these out there. You can get them in vertical or horizontal or all sorts of different formats, right? So it makes it really nice for going out and collecting this sort of digital information that's scattered around everywhere and coalescing it into one view so that you can really see what's going on. So let's try another one here. Noji, you do a lot of stuff with emergency response, right, for the city, right? Oh, there's an emergency. I want to see what's going on, right? Or I'm conducting a net and people are checking into the net. Would it be handy to be able to know who that person is and where they are when you get a call sign? So if somebody checks in and says, KN0JI, let's see what that comes back, right? So I can enter a call sign here and, oh, hey, look, there's a map. Oh, hey, look, there's Noji right there on the map. Oh, look, I can click on him and it says, oh, let's see. It's KN0JI, it's Noji Ratliff. Oh, let's see, I want to go to his QRZ page. Oh, look, here's his QRZ page. Isn't that handy? Okay, so I can build all that stuff. And again, pages and pages of code? Nope, took me about 10 minutes to build this tool, okay? Super, super easy to do. And I can put as many of these on the page as I want, and I can also have them automatically go away. So I have this set to disappear after 90 seconds. So as I'm going through this process, doing check-ins or whatever, those people are going to show up on the map and then disappear automatically off the map because I set it that way. They don't have to. I could leave them there if I wanted to. So I have all these capabilities of going in and updating people. So let me do myself here. Oops, if I know my own call sign. There we go, okay? So if I do myself, it's gonna pull me up on the map as well. And you notice the map recentered to where I am. Yes, ma'am?
How do you get past the QRZ sign-in?
I'm not signed in, so that's just the information that you get if you're not signed in. If I were logged in, I would get more information about you. But this information that I'm pulling here, that's got your address and all that stuff, I'm pulling from a web service, right, that returns JSON data that says, oh, here's all the information about this person. So here's an interesting one. Let's do this. Let's go to the UVARC website, and let's just look at some stuff here. If we go down here at the bottom, we have some latest contacts from, or to our local call sign, right? Okay, and they're kind of old, but let's try some of these. We have WX5DC. Let's see where that is. So WX5DC. Oops, some of us can't type. And that some of us would be me. Okay, so this guy is in College Station. Okay, cool. Let's go grab somebody else here. We have, I want to do this guy in Germany, DG1RUG. DG1RUG. Let's see where he is. Oh, look, there he is in Germany. Okay, so I can see the information about him. I've got his address. I've got all the information that I want about him, as well as a link to a QRZ page for him. And I can see those all across the world. I can still see mine. I can still see this other guy I looked up. And so I can see these all over, right? Super hard to build? Not exactly. Pretty easy. That's the whole thing right there. That's everything that builds that entire page. Here are those two band condition pieces. They're literally one box each. So those band conditions are coming in one node on the page. Yes, sir?
On the band conditions program that you built, does it have the ability to create logic for notifications? So like if the
You could.
condition is good, it'll send you like an email, text, something like that?
Yep. Yeah, you can do all that, right? You can send texts, whatever. So I run this as home automation at my house, right? So if my garage door opens when I'm not there, I get a text immediately saying, oh, hey, the garage door opened. If my wife comes home or leaves, I get a text saying, oh, your wife just came home. Oh, your wife just left, right? But only if I'm not there. If I'm home, it doesn't send me texts because it knows, right? It knows that I'm home.
Is that grounds for divorce?
No, actually, my wife loves it. So she thinks it's great. Okay, so this is the thing that's building that entire deal, right? Going out to HamDB, looking these people up, converting that to world map, putting it up on the world map page, all that stuff is just these few nodes right here. Okay, really, really super simple. Again, this is all stuff you guys can do. This is all drag and drop. You guys can do this, I promise. It's not that hard. So, yes, sir?
Those, in one of your earlier slides, there was a list of nodes you had down there. So,
Yes.
and that's kind of a finite list, but you said there's thousands of them.
There's hundreds of thousands of these nodes.
Can you drag whatever into your
Yes.
make an available list for you?
Yes, yes, you can. So these nodes on the side are the ones that I've installed. There's a set that come with Node-RED by default, and then you can install new ones. So what you do is come over here on the side, and you come down to Manage Palette. This is where you add new nodes to your system. So these are the ones that I have installed. I have the original Node-RED ones, I have the world map, I have the dashboard, I have a feed parser, and I have a UI list. So those are the ones that I've installed. But there are literally thousands and hundreds of thousands of these out there. So if I come over here and search for just the word ham, okay, I find all these things. Here's an APRS parser. Here's a screenshot tool. Here's, just all sorts of stuff, right? I can search for Morse, and I'll see, oh, here's one that does Morse code node, blah, 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 right? And for each one of these, if I'm not sure from that little description what it's going to do for me, I can go to the page and it will show me the information about it. So if I click this little box right here, it will take me to the page describing that set of nodes. And so I can see, oh, what is it? What does it do? What are the parameters? How does it work? Here's an example flow that you can use, all that sort of stuff. So this palette allows you to install, search for and install whatever nodes you're interested in for the particular project that you're working on. So yes, it's super easy to install nodes over here on the side to add new things to the system.
Are there nodes for specific devices like an ICOM radio or an AC radio?
So in general, what the guys on the Node-RED ham radio group have done is they've generally adopted like rig controller, things like that. So you don't necessarily have a Yaesu specific one, you have a rig control one, and then rig control knows how to talk to a Yaesu or an ICOM or a Kenwood or whatever. So yes and no. You can talk to them, but there's not specific like Kenwood version nodes, right? It's all through rig control. So we were just talking about events before, right, Karen? When events happen, right? Parades, all those things. So let's look at a little interface that I built here for events. So imagine that you were in charge of an event. Imagine that your name is Karen and you're in charge of an event, like a parade. And you say, gosh, I got all these guys that are going to show up. I need to keep a log of what's going on while I'm here, all that stuff. So I'm going to come up here and say event starts. Oh, look, I get this really nice log. It gets auto time stamped for me. Man, that's really handy. Gee, I really wish that I could see this on a map, wherever I'm working. And it'd be really nice if I could come down here and go, let's see. This is Orem. Let's see. I think, let's do this. Let's come over and let's make this region right here be our staging area. So we'll just call that staging. Okay. And we'll just zoom in a little bit here. And we're going to come over here and say, I'm going to give this guy a tactical call sign. And I'm going to put Noji here. So I'm going to assign Noji to that station. So now I have this cool little marker. You notice that it went out and it automatically updated. I don't know if you can see that. It automatically updated that marker with Noji's name as well, because it went out, looked it up, came back, put it in that marker. Okay? So now I have this nice marker on the map. But let's look back here at our log. Get this small enough. Oh, look. It says stage 1 Noji Ratliff was added at 7:36 p.m. Isn't that handy? I don't have to go type all that crap in. It just knows, oh, this guy got put on the map someplace. Gee, that seems really handy, doesn't it? Does that seem like something that might be really useful? If you were running an event, if you went up and said, okay, I want to put a guy right here, he's going to be 400 south, and it's going to be James, and I'll just drop him there as a node, and I'm going to come back up here, and at center, we're going to put in, this is going to be corner, and Carl, what's your call? WV7OMG. 7OMG. So that's going to be Carl. And you'll notice, again, it's updating them. It's going out, looking them up, updating them with their name. I don't have to know what their name is. It's automatically doing this for me. And it's automatically going over on the dashboard and putting these notes on. So I know when Carl showed up. I know when James showed up. I know when, oh, let's see, Noji's got to take off. Oh, okay, here, we'll just go delete Noji. Man, it'd be really nice if I knew how long Noji was there. Oh, wait, look, it just told me that Noji left. How handy is that? And I can come back in and say, oh, let's see, I have a lost child, blonde, blue, jeans, whatever, right? That gets dumped in the log too. And I can say, oh, this is really annoying because I want to see the most recent stuff. So I'm just going to flip that log around so it's in reverse order now instead of regular order. So I can flip it back and forth anytime I want. You notice the messages are just flipping one way or the other. And I can create as many log entries as I want. I can keep track of who came, who left. I can grab this and save it to a file if I want. I have a list over here on the left-hand side that says these are all the stations that are currently active in my system, so I know who's here right now. I know who's logged out of the system because they've been deleted. And you know, it'd be really nice if we had floaters running around, you know, like rovers and stuff, and they had APRS, and so I could see where they are on the map in real time. Wouldn't that be super handy? I don't have to keep jumping back and forth between an APRS map and my map of the event and all that sort of stuff. Man, that'd be really nice. Let's see, W7JHB-5, that would be me. Anybody else in the room got APRS turned on? Either here or at home or anything else? No other APRS users? You got? Okay, go for it. What's your call sign? Well, what's your APRS ID for that particular device? XCF?
XEF.
Oh, XV as in Victor?
Echo.
Oh, Echo. Got it. Probably 5 or 6 or 7? Okay, cool. So I'm just going to add those, and magic, guess what? So that's the ham radio one. That's not going to help me at all. Oh, hey, look, there's me in real time on the map. Isn't that handy? So if you had rovers, this gets updated every 2 minutes, right? I go pull APRS every 2 minutes, and so if that little person moves, if my rover moves, they're going to move on the map. So makes it super easy to be able to see exactly, oh, there we go. There you are, you showed up, okay? Makes it super easy to keep track of where people are, right? So again, super complicated, right? Man, nobody could ever write that. It took me literally a day to build this entire system. The entire thing took me literally a day, okay? So here's what that looks like. This is the event map tool right here, right? More complicated than the others, granted, okay? But it's all drag and drop. And it all happens in real time. And it all goes out. And guess what? It's web-based. So that means that Karen can look at it, Noji can look at it, Carl can look at it. Everyone can look at this in real time and see what's going on live. So as many people as we want, we can have net controls, assistant net controls, we can have people in the EOC, we can have people anywhere who are looking at this live map in real time, and they see the exact same things I do, and they can manipulate the map in real time along with everyone else. And all it took was these few little nodes right here to build all of that. Okay? Node-RED is an awesome tool for collecting bunches of information, putting that together for you, creating things you were talking about, creating things like alerts and stuff like that, right? I have alerts. I have a weather station in my house. I have alerts. If the wind speed at my house exceeds 50 miles an hour, I get a text, right? I know immediately if the wind speed's doing something, right? I could even be smart enough to go, okay, let's see. If the wind speed exceeds 40 miles an hour, I really don't want my antenna poking up there because I don't want that thing getting blown over. So go talk to the tower controller and tell it to drop the antenna until the wind speed drops considerably below 35, right? Give it some hysteresis. So drops below 30, then I'm going to run the tower back up all completely automatically, right? I don't have to worry about it. It's like, oh, I'm out of town and I forgot. Not a problem. It'll take care of itself. Yes, sir.
What kind of tag out, lockout do you have so it doesn't move the tower when you're servicing it?
So you can do all of those, right? You could build it into the system, or you could go out and simply unplug it, right? To be smart about it, right? But you can build all of this automation system however you want by just using these little drag and drop nodes on the screen, right? Super, super easy to do. So, yes?
Build it to where your log, you know, where you were putting in
Uh-huh.
that, where that would drop into an ICS form?
Yes. Yeah, you can drop it in. If you want to send it digi every time it gets updated, you want to drop it in at the end, however you want to do it, it's fine. I just happen to be putting it out this way, but you can put it out any way you want. You can format it any way you want. You can send it anywhere you want. In real time, at the end, whatever you want to do. So it's possible to take these and export them, import them, whatever, however you want to use them that way. Not a problem. So one of the other things here, one of the other nice things is if somebody moves, I just have to grab them and move them, right? So I can move stuff around. If I've got an element that I want to re-edit and do something different with, I want to get rid of that staging box that I had on the screen, all that sort of stuff, I can move those things around in real time as well because I have the ability to say, oh, hey, here are these people. Yes, sir.
Rough guess, you've already got an APRS login there.
Uh-huh.
How many more nodes, how much time would it be, some research on the internet to have those logs start kicking out to the APRS members?
That's fine. You can do it in real time. I mean, it's probably like 2 nodes.
For you to edit the code here, or drag and drop, would you say that's kind of like a 5-minute thing, or would you say that's like an hour thing?
It's depending on exactly what you want to do. It's between one of those two. If you just want to send something to APRS to say, you know, here's an update, that's probably 2 minutes. You know, if you want it as like an SMS message or things like that, it's fine. There's an SMS node. Send this email, you're done. So yeah, all of these are really, really ridiculously easy to do. So I want to encourage you to go out and give this a try. It's not as scary as you think it is, I promise. It's drag and drop, it's really easy. If you can use the mouse and drag things on the screen, you can do this. Yes, sir.
So, if I wanted to get started at home to do exactly what you're doing here, what equipment do I need to have to get started? The Raspberry Pi?
No, you can, everything that you're seeing today is actually running on this machine right here. I'm running it on my Windows machine just because it's easier to do for the demo. My one at home runs on a Raspberry Pi that's running my house, but that's a completely separate setup from this one. So you can run it on Windows, you can run it on Mac, you can run it on Linux, you can run it on anything. If you have a computer, it'll run on it.
So the computer and the Node-RED software?
Which is free. It's all open source. Yeah, so your cost is 0, right? You can go play with it today. Yes, sir.
I noticed a lot of this information you're pulling is like public or semi-public information.
Yes.
What if you have private information that you want to make a node for? Can you do that?
Yes, absolutely. So you can build nodes for anything. You can build your own nodes. You can build flows and turn them into nodes. You can, like I'm running my own node server at my house, right? It's literally running on a Raspberry Pi. It is not exposed to the internet. So no one has access to that. But that's my choice. I could choose to expose it or choose not to expose it. You also have the ability to have usernames, passwords. You can require people to log in order to be able to see the dashboard. You can have a separate login to be able to edit things and make changes. So all of that security is built in if you want it. I don't use it because my machine is inside my house. You have to physically be in my house to have access to it. So you can be as open or as closed as you want. Yes, sir.
So where do you get these nodes from? I mean, does it work the same way as, for example, like the Docker repository?
Uh-huh.
That you can just download them from inside the application?
Yes, yeah, so that's what, sorry, I just went the wrong way here. Let's do this again. So that is what, over here on this manage palette, that's what that's for. That's how you get new nodes in your system from other people, is you just come out here and search for, like I said, Morse code, right? Well, if I could spell. If I search for Morse code nodes, I'll find, well, apparently my internet connection is dead. Come on, guys. Anyway, you can go out, oh, it's because I'm searching my nodes instead of the install ones. There we go. So you can go out and search for nodes that are related to whatever. So you can put whatever search term you want in there, and there are, I don't know, probably 20 nodes here that have to do with Morse code in various forms, right? So you can download those and install those anytime you want, any nodes that you want. You can also write your own. If you're one of those people that put your hand up at the beginning that, you know, software engineer type, you can go out and write your own as well. You can create your own nodes out there as well. What's that? Oh yeah, I'm basically done. So one other thing that I've done, this is an RTL SDR, software defined radio. You can get these for 30 or 40 bucks on Amazon. So I have one of these plugged in at my house. Well, actually I don't right now because I unplugged it to bring it here, but I have one of these plugged in at my house, and I use it to go grab the power meter and the water meter, because Orem just went out and installed all new water meters. You may have noticed that in your front lawn. They're all electronic. You can read that data unencrypted from your little RTL SDR device plugged into your house and pipe that into Node and be able to see your water usage in real time in your house, okay? So if you're interested in that sort of thing, meter readings, all that sort of stuff, super cheap to go do that. You can build yourself a little interface so that you can see in real time. You can detect leaks, right? Like, hey, there shouldn't be any water usage at 2 a.m. in my house. So if there is, I'm gonna send myself an email or a text or whatever and say, hey, go check and see something's leaking, right? So all those sorts of things you can do using Node. So let me grab this last page so you guys can grab the URL here. All right, so this is my contact info. You're welcome to take a picture of this screen. There's my email address. There's also the blog post that I put out that has lots more information about this than I can present in 40 minutes. You can use the little QR code that's right there. That will take you to that same blog post, or you can just grab the blog post URL, whichever is easier for you. If you have questions, I will take a couple, and then Noji's going to boot me off the stage with the big shepherd's crook, but I'm happy to talk to people. Okay, fair enough. Yes?
I have a question on that one, I don't know what you call it, gadgets or widgets or something, it had a meter, electronic meter.
Right, yeah.
Did you create that?
No, it's just a node that I pulled in and stuck on the page.
The node is, okay.
Yeah, so it already exists as a node.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so those nodes exist. That's part of the dashboard module. You get little gauges and charts and all sorts of stuff. You can do bar graphs. You can do line graphs. You can do multiple lines per graph. You can do all sorts of stuff. That stuff's already built, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens of UI node sets that you can download that expand that capability even more. So if you want to use a particular graph system or things like that, you can absolutely do that. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them via email or whatever. If there's enough interest in Node-RED, I would be happy to sit down and have an afternoon meetup or whatever if you'd like over at UVU or somewhere and talk about this more, help people out with projects, that sort of thing. I really encourage you to go out and do this. Go look at the resources that are at the bottom of that blog post for the Node-RED ham radio guys, Node-RED in general, all those things. It's a great automation platform, makes it super easy to build really useful applications where you can gather all that information together and be able to send that back out where you want it, alert yourself, create automation processes that are smart enough to monitor stuff for you, all that sort of thing you can build in Node-RED by just grabbing those nodes, dragging them, connecting them together, and connect the dots. So if you can do Legos, you can do Node-RED. Thanks. think I'm all set. So you want a copy of that? I actually have a couple other things I want to do to it. But.
No, because I do the Provo Parade. I'm over the Provo Parade.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Let me get this out of your way.
Anybody need to come in? Anybody don't have a ticket?
Just gonna skate.
We're at door prizes anyway, no, G? Your computer don't listen to
No, the way you do it, see the little thing right there? Click on that. Just click. So click is over here.
Okay, no, we're doing door prizes. You're up for door prizes. Okay, no G's up for door prizes.
Yay. I will make this quick and simple. Let's see. First, I'm going to get the prizes.
What are we giving away, Brent?
Well,
S-A-O. You're gonna do it right.
everybody got a ticket.
Either one of those white ones or something on the way up here to the deal. Okay, so this is what we got. Number one, we got this computer. It's like almost as good as that Raspberry Pi that
You got her.
James has. Yeah, it'll run Node-RED, no problem. So there you go. Full-blown computer, Windows. What is it? No, who is it that brought this? And what is it?
Windows 10.
It's Windows 10. There you go. Sorry, I don't remember. So I give away so many computers. It's a full-blown Windows 10 computer. It's got HDMI. It's got an SSD drive. It's got 8 gig of RAM and 256 gig of SSD. So there you go. And we got this deluxe player set from somebody, and we got this little light here. And so you can get that, and we have a 1-year ARRL membership. You can win that one. Those are your choices. You can choose any one of those. And we have this ARRL hands-on radio experiments manual. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of cool experiments. If you are into building things or just playing around, this is the manual for you. It's pretty chock full of all kinds of neat little things. In fact, we're going to demonstrate one of them next month. I think it's in this manual. But there you go. So, and also we've got this ham radio transceiver. If you don't have a transceiver, you're that new to radio, this could be your night. Get started here. And finally, we'll have a grand prize of one of Carl's deluxe, honest to goodness antennas. Yep. Very nice. I mean, a lot of people have these things, and people never complain about your signal if this is up by your roof. Well, I don't know. They might if you only put it on a 5. No, even if a 5-watt handheld, I think it works pretty good. So it's not your radio, it's the antenna. This will work. So let's go ahead and get moving on. And we'll take the first number. The first number ends with 986. Who's got 9? What have I got here? Nope, not me. 986. Gary. Gary, would you like a computer, Gary? Come on down. All right, you got your choice here. This bell thing, plier set, this light, or this hands-on experiment manual, or the ARRL membership.
I think we've been always doing number 3.
Yeah. Let me take the book.
The book it is. All right, congratulations, Gary.
Right here, look at that. Hold up, Gary. Smile. There we go.
All right, the next number ends with 008, 007 plus 1. Heath, come on down. All right, Heath, what's it going to be? I know Heath has already won one of these computers, but hey, he can have a mate right now. One of these computers, a light, or a transceiver, ARRL membership, or a pair of pliers. Actually, it's 4 pairs of pliers. Needle nose, crescent.
Choose the computer.
The computer it is.
To build a server.
All right, build a server. Very good. All right, the next number ends with, check my number here. Ends with 974. 974. Who's got 974? Going once. Carl. You want a Jake? No, you don't need it. That's not for grabs yet.
Use that, actually.
Sorry, it's not yours.
I'll take the radio.
Radio it is. All right.
No, that might get.
Congratulations.
That might get redraw.
All right, thank you for my lovely assistant. The next number is 003. 003, who's got that? Jim. All right. If you have trouble making your way up here, we can always bring it to you, but hey, I think he's going to do it. All right, so you've got ARRL, the membership it is. Okay, the man chooses wisely.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jim. All right, the next number is 967. 967. Who's got it?
No, gee, that's destruction.
James won his own. No red. All right. James says he wants me to try again.
Try again. You're good. I have Carl's antenna. I have way more pliers than I need. My wife would kill me if I came home with a flashlight. We're all good.
So he's all good. Okay, here we go then. Next one is 984. 984. Do we have a winner? We do not have a winner yet.
Going once, going twice. Got one back here.
Oh, hey, here we go. Winner back here. All right. I think his name is Isaac. Is that right? Isaac. Let's see. What do you want? Do you want a light or do you want a heavy? A light. The man chooses the light. Oh, go get your picture taken over here.
Hold it up.
All right, very good. Congratulations. Now, for the last elective prize. Kind of nice. I'm surprised no one's picked these, okay? Channel locks, needle nose, regular pliers, and some wire cutters, okay? Very nice. The number is 961. 961. Here you go. Remind me of your name, please.
Mark.
Mark. He tells me every single month, and I always forget.
That's all right. Thank you.
It's kind of nice. I'm not sure I want to give it to you. Okay. Go ahead. All right.
Hey, hold up, Mark. Ooh, there we go. There we go.
Congratulations, Mark. All right. I hold in my hand the last prize. This has not been held on Funkin' Wagnall's porch since noon today, but this ticket might have been. And the person holding this ticket has the number of 991. Who's got 991? Sorry, it's a touchy subject. Come on down. And tell me what your name is, sir.
My name is Richard.
Richard.
I'm AJ7K.
AJ7K. Well, congratulations. You won a ticket. No, you can have the antenna. Congratulations, Richard.
Hold up there, Richard. Hold up there.
All right, very good, everybody. Turn the time back to my lovely assistant.
You get the bucket.
Thank you.
Still kicking.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, we want to thank everybody for coming out. They're doing QSY at Lucy's that week, Lucy's Pizza. If you want to come and join, but we want to thank everybody for coming out. We'll need help putting chairs away tonight before you guys leave. Thank you. We'll see you guys next month.